They say the Appalachian Mountains are beautiful, but they never tell you what moves between the trees when no one is watching. Tonight's story isn't about monsters or legends. It's about a real man on a real trail who made one mistake, trusting the wrong person in the mountains. A few years ago, I went on vacation with my girlfriend, Monica. We decided to travel northeast, close to the Appalachian Mountains, specifically near the Appalachian Trail. If you don't know much about it, the Appalachian Mountains stretch across the eastern United States, running from Canada all the way down to Alabama. Miles and miles of dense forests, endless hills, and trails that look exactly the same no matter which direction you turn. One morning, we decided to hike part of the Appalachian Trail. Not the entire thing. Doing that would take months, but just a section known for its views. And the views were incredible. Tall trees, rolling mountains, and silence so deep you could hear your own breathing. There weren't many people out that day. We saw a few hikers early on, but for the most part, it felt like the woods belonged only to us. After several hours, we took a break. Monica wanted to keep hiking, so we decided to check out another nearby park. I thought it was still part of the Appalachian Trail. I was wrong. This park had multiple connecting trails, twisting and splitting in every direction. There was a small parking lot near the start. That's where we left our car. At first, everything felt normal, but the farther we walked, the quieter it became. No voices, no footsteps, just wind brushing through leaves. The trails twisted uphill and downhill, splitting into paths that looked identical. After a while, Monica asked a question every hiker dreads. Are we going the right way back? I wasn't sure. Landmarks started blending together. Every tree looked the same. Every turn felt familiar and unfamiliar at the same time. Then I realized something worse. It was getting dark. We hadn't seen another person in a long time until we heard footsteps behind us. We turned around. A man was standing on the trail. He looked rugged, a thick beard, worn clothes, like someone who belonged out there. At first, I assumed he was just another hiker. But the moment he spoke, something felt off. He told us we should head back soon. It was getting dark, and we didn't want to be stuck out there at night. I agreed and asked him if he knew where our parking lot was. I described it carefully. There was no way to confuse it. The man pointed down a connecting path. Just follow that trail, he said. It'll take you straight there. I thanked him. We walked off. He went the opposite direction. At least, that's what we thought. The trail he pointed us toward looked no different from the others. Narrow, dirt-packed, dense woods pressing in from both sides like walls. We started walking. At first, it felt normal. The path dipped and climbed, twisting to the trees. But after a long time, nothing changed. No parking lot, no road, no familiar landmarks. Just more forest. After nearly an hour of walking, the light began to fade. The sun slipped behind the mountains, and shadows stretched unnaturally long across the trail. That's when we heard it. Footsteps. Not close enough to see anyone, but close enough to know someone was behind us. I slowed my pace listening. So did Monica. The steps slowed too. Neither of us said anything. We didn't want to confirm the fear out loud. My phone had barely any signal, and the map app was useless. No pin, no location, just spinning confusion. The woods grew quieter. No birds, no insects. And in that silence, the footsteps sounded louder. Then we heard something that made my stomach drop. A laugh, a low, slow, creepy laugh. It was a man's laugh, and it sounded familiar. My mind immediately went back to the man who gave us directions. There was no reason he should be behind us. He had gone another way. At least, he said he did. We kept walking faster now. My heart was pounding. I wanted to believe it was coincidence. Another hiker. Someone else lost. But then the trail straightened out for a short stretch. I slowed down on purpose. I wanted to see who it was. A few seconds later, he appeared. It was the same man, the same beard, the same clothes. But this time, when he saw me looking at him, he didn't keep walking. He jumped off the trail and disappeared into the woods. That's when panic hit. This wasn't normal behavior. This wasn't someone just hiking. I told Monica to run. We started jogging, my footsteps pounding behind hers. I kept listening for him. And then I heard it. He was running too. Branches snapped behind us. Leaves crushed under fast footsteps. And then that laugh again. Closer this time. My chest burned as we ran. The trail split again, and without thinking, we turned onto another path. He followed for several minutes. It felt like he was playing with us, keeping just enough distance to let us know he was there. Then he yelled, "It's just you and me out here." That sentence hit harder than anything else. No witnesses, no help, no escape. We ran faster than I thought we could. Eventually, the footsteps faded. The laughter stopped. We slowed to a walk, terrified to breathe too loudly. Every sound made us flinch. We kept walking in a random direction, ready to run again at the first noise. And then, like something out of a miracle, we saw it. A parking lot. Empty. Silent. Not the one we parked in, but a way out. We didn't hesitate. We left the trail and walked onto the road. 10 minutes later, we reached a gas station and finally got help. That night, back home, neither of us slept much. I still don't know who that man was. But I know one thing. If we had trusted him a little longer, we might never have left those woods. I've lived near the Appalachian Mountains for most of my life. After what happened on that trail, I tried to convince myself it was just bad luck. One strange man, one terrifying day. But Appalachia wasn't done with me. My house sits in a quiet, spread-out neighborhood. Big yards, few neighbors, and behind my backyard, woods, an acre of lawn, then another acre of dense forest. No trails, no lights, just trees packed so tightly the darkness never really leaves. One night, I was home alone. I had a kitchen window cracked open to let the cool air in when I heard it. A bush moving in the backyard, not rustling from the wind, something brushing against it. I assumed it was a deer. We get them all the time. Still, I walked over and looked out the window. Nothing, just darkness and trees. About 30 minutes later, I heard a loud thud against the sliding glass door, hard enough to make my heart jump. It sounded like someone had run straight into it. I froze, listening. Nothing else. I walked into the kitchen, but the blinds were closed. I moved to another window and looked out, and that's when I saw him. A man, sprinting across my backyard at full speed. He didn't look lost. He didn't look scared. He looked like he was leaving. He ran straight toward the woods and vanished between the trees. I stepped outside, heart pounding, and scanned the yard. Nothing. No broken glass. No footprints. Just silence. I went back inside, locking everything. An hour passed. Nothing happened. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. At first there was silence, then heavy breathing, slow, deliberate. I asked who it was. No response, just breathing. After about 30 seconds, the call ended. I checked every lock, covered every window. I didn't sleep that night. Nothing else happened after that, but I still wonder, was it the same man from the trail? And if it was, how did he get my number? I live in Pennsylvania, deep in the Appalachian region. A few years ago, I was renting a small house out in the country. Trees on all sides, long winding roads, and neighbors spaced far apart. It was the kind of place where nothing ever happened, which is why what happened next still haunts me. One morning, I had the day off work. I woke up around 7 a.m. and planned to go for a jog. Before heading out, I noticed an Amazon package sitting on my porch. I brought it inside, left it on the table, and went upstairs to change. I was only going to be gone for a minute. The front door wasn't locked. As I pulled on my shoes upstairs, I heard the front door open. Not a knock, not a creak. The sound of someone walking in. Footsteps moved across the main floor. Slow, confident. My heart dropped into my stomach. I didn't call out. I didn't move. I slipped into my closet and quietly pulled the door shut, pressing myself behind hanging clothes. My bedroom door was still open. I was too afraid to close it and make noise. The footsteps moved around downstairs. Then they started climbing the stairs. Each step felt louder than the last. I held my breath as the footsteps reached the top and walked straight into my bedroom. They stopped right there, just a few feet from where I was hiding. Seconds passed. Then the footsteps turned and left the room. I finally exhaled. I pulled my phone out and called the police, whispering my address. While I was on the call, the footsteps entered the spare bedroom. Then they went back downstairs. I stayed hidden, barely breathing, until I heard the sound stop completely. I never heard the door close. 10 minutes later, the police arrived. The intruder was gone. Nothing stolen. Nothing damaged. No explanation. I never found out who walked into my house that morning, or why they came straight to my bedroom. A few years ago, I was driving through Appalachia late at night. I'd been on the road all day, heading from the southeast back toward the northeast. Driving through the night wasn't new to me, but that road was. It was after midnight. A two-lane road, tight curves, dense woods on both sides. No houses, no lights, no other cars. Just my headlights cutting through the darkness. As I rounded a bend, the road straightened out for a moment. That's when I saw him. A man ran out of the woods and jumped over the guardrail. He landed on the side of the road, then started jogging. At first, I slowed down, confused. Why would someone be out here? At this hour? He was wearing jeans and a hoodie pulled tight over his head. Then he did something that made my stomach drop. He moved into my lane. I slowed to a crawl. He didn't turn around. I tried switching into the opposite lane to pass him. He moved too, blocking me. I stopped the car. So, did he? He stood there, back to me, about 50 feet ahead. I honked. Nothing. Then he reached into his pocket. I couldn't see what he pulled out, only that it wasn't a phone. I threw the car into reverse. As I turned around, I glanced back one last time. He had turned to face me, and he was smiling, wide, wrong. I floored it and didn't look back. I took a different route that added almost an hour to my drive. Worth it. because to this day, I don't know what would have happened if I had stepped out of my car or stopped trying to leave.